What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Film Villains, the show dedicated to all things horror and filmmaking by filmmakers, presented by us villains at Black Vortex Cinema. What is up, guys?
What's up?
Yeah, let's go around the horn and introduce ourselves. This is our first episode. Hunter, we'll start with you.
What's up? My name is Hunter Johnson. I'm a horror filmmaker and actor, and I'm at LA Horror Con.
Excellent. Alex, let's go around clockwise.
Yo, Alex Napawaki, filmmaker, musician, guy on this show, at Alex Napawaki.
Jonathan.
Hey, I'm Jonathan Lewis, not Jonathan Louis Lewis, as one reviewer called me the other day.
Louis Lewis.
What idiot parents named him that? But anyways, I'm a filmmaker. You might know me from a movie called Black Devil Doll. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. And I am Christian Ackerman, the founder of Black Vortex Cinema. I mainly produce films. I've been a lot of thrillers lately. I was the founder of National Horror Movie Day, October 23rd, which you will all be celebrating. I think we should do a full, maybe a live show that day or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
And
then
an undead show, if you will.
Yes, yeah, well, we'll all be dead because we're all gonna die in a minute, right? According to Hunter.
I think we're committed to this 10,000 year squad.
Yeah, I think that's
going to be a lot of shitty movies made. A lot of shitty movies are coming out.
1,000 years of agony.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so Hunter, you just finished up filming a movie.
Yeah, actually, I finished filming a vertical web series, which is all the craze for the Gen Z right now, apparently. But yeah, it was in the vampire and romance genre. So not quite horror, definitely more drama / romance, but it's geared towards female audience, which is super fun to do. But yeah, it was super fun. Lots of neck biting, lots of blood spraying, and some witchcraft, some magic. It was super fun. But yes, I was assistant directing and co-producing it.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Jonathan, what have you been doing?
I just finished a feature recently, and then I'm trying to scramble around, see what ideas I have to start making another one. But other than that, just trying to keep the lights on. I'm a broke filmmaker.
Yeah. Yeah, we you just came out with Sinister Surgeon, which we'll be talking about in the future.
A Tubi original.
Tubi
it's a fun little genre to get into.
Yeah, we actually filmed a segment of it last week on a test run, so we'll put that out there. We'll put a clip out of that eventually once this airs. Alex, what are you up to?
What am I up to? Working on a script that I am developing with you that is super hush-hush currently, but it's going to be fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Doing some writing, playing some music, band's getting ready to record, kind of focusing some of my creative energy on that right now. But watching lots of movies, which I will talk about later. What are you up to, Mac?
Good. I just finished the script that it'll be our first production of this year together. And so we just put out a casting notice. I mean, the script took us a few months to get going. My writing partner and I, Chuck Foster. But now that we have the first draft done, we can kind of start moving ahead and get all you guys to read it. I just sent it to you all the other day. So now that you have a little time, Hunter and Jonathan, hopefully we can get some notes on that and see how we can improve it, make it real good.
I read it. It's rad.
Hell yeah. Thank you, man.
There's a lot of dong, Hunter.
That's
a lot of dong.
You're gonna be fucking praise.
There's a lot of dong in it.
So much.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, we got to cast Hunter for that for sure. We need lots of dong.
I gotta go on my horror spiel that
Hunter and his Johnson.
Yeah. The horror world needs more dong, and I mean that sincerely, because women have had the monopoly on nudity in horror movies for so long. Not that I'm opposed to that, but it's time. I don't want to sound like a weirdo, but I just feel like we need to get more dongs in these movies, man. That's what the people want.
You're right. I watched a couple podcasts of female podcasts of them watching original old school horror movies, and they say that exact same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
They want it.
I've been saying this since college, actually, but I still have never put a dong in one of my movies. But I've been telling my writing partner, Chuck, we've been partners for 25 years. I've been like, dude, if we're gonna have pussies, we're gonna have dicks in our movies. That's gonna be the rule.
Hey, I don't want to get on a tangent here, but I did put a dong in a movie.
You did. It was your dong, right?
No. Well, my dong wasn't seen in To Jennifer, but
Oh, okay.
I wrote a movie and directed a movie called Sawed Off with my buddy Jody Barton, who starred in the movie. And when he sent me, we kind of traded the scenes back and forth. And I read the first scene he wrote, and literally the first line of the script was, "John is running naked through the woods." And I went into his room. We were living together at the time. And I was like, "Jody, you're playing John." And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, "So I just got a question about this first line of action. John is running naked through the woods. Are we going to do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." Like, so if you watch Sawed Off, you will see a bit of dong. And I was very proud. And
that is Sawed Off? Sawed Off?
Sawed Off. Yeah. It's just go to my OnlyFans, and I have the extended director's cut.
Was the whole set on board with that? Because I ran into the same thing. I ran into that we put a dong in my movie Black Devil Doll, and there was a moment where, and it's almost like a prison kind of thing. I don't know if I can say that word, but anyways, yeah, but there's a moment there where they were like, "No, I don't know if we want to do this." I said, "No, we have to do it," and then push in on that close up. So
nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember that, but maybe I blacked it out or something.
Yeah. Afterwards, the Black Devil Doll throws 5 cigarettes to him.
Okay. That's the prison scene. Yeah. I remember. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You remember, Christian. Don't try to play it cool.
That's his favorite scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sawed Off, you can see it. It's out right now, right?
Sawed Off is out on a bunch of platforms. It was a real fun 3 actors, 1 location, low budget movie. But yeah, aside from the dong, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and I need to see that.
The
dong.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the movie, just the dong. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jody did a great job acting in the movie too. He brought more to the table than just a dong.
Yeah. I haven't seen him since I don't know. It's been since the last time we really hung out when you were in town.
Yeah. He's doing great, man. I'm writing some scripts with him right now, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time.
I have never put dong in film either. Hunter, we were so close with Hunter stars in a short I wrote and directed called Blue Balls, and somehow everything's over the shoulder or whatever, but managed not to do it. But in a short I produced called Passing the Stone, there is like an ultra close moment, and you can find that somewhere on the dark webs of the internet. Or on some trauma anthology called Grindsploitation.
All right, I think it's time for some horror news. Hey, let's talk about horror in the news. What is up out there in the world of horror? First off, you guys they just released some stills from the new Terrifier 3 movie, and it actually looks really cool with Art the Clown dressed up as Santa Claus here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think that's pretty fucking pretty rad. So I guess it's a Christmas movie. I
got to work with David Howard Thornton not too long ago, who plays Art the Clown, and he didn't give me any specifics about Terrifier 3. But he did say that it ups the ante in every sense of the word. So I don't know how you can surpass Terrifier 2, but he told us to get ready for it. It's gonna be and based on the picture, man, I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah, hell yeah, that sounds great. That looks really fucking awesome. So I don't know, I still need to see Terrifier 2, man. I haven't even seen it.
Oh my god,
Gotta catch
so
up.
good.
We're going to break for 90 minutes while Ack goes and watches that.
We're going to break for 2.5 hours, man. It's an epic.
Oh, yeah. Forget how long those kills are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, and then up next, we have Tina Romero, who's the daughter of George Romero. She is coming out with a queer zombie movie called Queens of the Dead. So That'll be an interesting one from the offspring of George Romero. There's not much information except for casting, so I don't even know if they've shot the movie yet. But I think it'll be shot somewhere in the East Coast, or maybe in New York or something like that. Next up, yeah, I think. Oh well, I thought that this was kind of funny. There's a 6-foot Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy animatronics that's going to be put out this year, but I don't know. It's kind of silly. Let me play the clip.
You think you was gonna get away from me? I'm gonna eat you up. You are all my children now.
That looks like you, Ack.
Yeah, well, that's my life, you know. That's how I roll. JoeBlow.com also put some images out for this movie called Night Bitch, starring Amy Adams, where she's like this suburban mom dog walker or some shit. Apparently, it's a horror film starring Amy Adams, but I think she starts thinking that she's a dog, or she actually is turning into a dog. So I don't really know, but if Amy Adams is in a horror film, I think we should definitely be checking that out. Amy Adams.
Awesome. What genre did they describe it as? What does that say?
Neo horror. Yeah, it says neo horror, darkly comic neo horror. So she's in a horror comedy where she turns into a dog. Maybe, I don't know.
Teen Wolf?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder if it turns into. I wonder if it becomes this werewolf kind of situation.
And then she wins the basketball team fucking championship. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, or the soccer mom awards. Next up, there's this trailer that came out, and it's called Pizza Party Massacre, and it went viral over the past week at 152,000 hits on this little shot on VHS trailer, the whole feature film. So I don't know, it looks kind of like a throwback, silly fun thing to check out. So yeah, let's check this out and see what we say.
No, they aren't the only people I invited to your party. Oh really? Who else is coming?
It's 1 year ago on a day just like today, but come to think of it, it's maybe the exact anniversary of the accident.
What accident?
The accident that took the life of Pizza World's own Petey Pizza Face. They say that if you call Pizza World late at night and order a large pizza, he'll come for you in exactly 30 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to watch out for that. Who gets the last prize?
I love that they did the whole thing shot of VHS on VHS, and
yeah,
that's awesome to me.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
It makes it all the more genuine when it's, because if you're shooting it, I mean, we've all done those kind of the grindhouse throwbacks, and if you're shooting it on as something that's super clean and then trying to degrade it, it often doesn't come out as degraded as it should. So
did they edit on the camera? That would be
Dude,
that would be epic.
I doubt that. But I checked out some of their other stuff, and they're doing all this kind of throwback stuff and probably shooting it all on VHS, and it looks really raw and just silly fun. So shout out to
awesome.
Shout out to Six Slice Studios. I mean, a lot of people do that kind of stuff, but it sometimes it just gets lost in the ether, and good for them for getting some traction on something that's so esoteric.
It's me right in the nostalgia. Like when I first saw my first indie horror film, that's what it looked like. Like it was that early 90s, just like that movie Decapitated that was put out by Troma, like it looks just fucking like that. You can't
Yeah.
You can't make it up. You can't film that with a fucking professional camera and downgrade it, just like you said. Like, the mind knows VHS.
There's an old movie I remember as a kid. It was going around on VHS, and it was something with a pizza man, but the catchphrase after they were killing a pizza man, and one of the catchphrases was he was running around. He's like, "Catch me if you can, pizza man." And I don't know if anybody remembers it. It went viral before there was viral. I mean, this had to be like early 90s, probably late 80s. But I wish I had more information. I'll have to find it. But yeah, it's right in that vein. It's awesome.
Well, it wasn't like Ice Cream Man, the movie.
No, it wasn't Ice Cream Man. This
trying to kill a pizza man.
It was an indie film that just was circulating around everybody that was selling bootlegs back at the time at Fangoria conventions. And circulating around there, and it was just one of those tapes. It was hilarious. It was fun. I'll have to track it down.
Yeah, well, I think what we really need to do is track down some giallo. Let's go, Jonathan.
Hey, so yeah, I mean,
introduce your segment. Let us know what it's all about.
Yeah, Giallo is about giallo films. Those Italian sleazy, highly stylish, gory, crazy movies that started in the late 60s all the way until the 90s. Like I'd say 1990, probably late 80s. It kind of died out, but came from the paperbacks of the 40s in Italy. And they were whodunits, and then they started to take them and make these stylistic, crazy things that, man, just inspired so many people, so many American horror film directors, everything. Some of the big names are, like obviously Argento, and you have people like, I think even Fulci, who's more in the horror realm of what we know. He dabbled in giallo. Sergio Martino is one of my favorites. But yeah, they're crazy movies. If you haven't, dialed in on any of those, I'd say start with some Argento and venture out, and you'll start finding all of these crazy filmmakers. Umberto Lenzi is one of them that I'm going to talk about today. Umberto has, some really crazy, wild movies. Make Them Die Slowly. He has Nightmare City. He has there's so many. I could go on and on, but there is one movie that I was trying to find something I hadn't seen for this segment, and one of them was The Hitcher in the Dark, and this is a wild movie. It's at the tail end of all the giallos, so it's like 89, and the funniest thing about it, I tried to get into it, and it was the end of that genre. It was hard to get through it. But some of the funny things I'll just mention real quick. It's still in that vein of they tried to sell an American giallo film, or sell it to America to play it off as an American slasher. And so even down to the director's name isn't Umberto, isn't the director. It's Humphrey Humper. It's like,
have to have some
like
sort of ridiculous name.
Yeah, ridiculous names. There's a lot of Italians, filmmakers thinking this is what Americans do in the film. There's, I think, about a 2-minute dance party scene in a park of this just girl standing in the middle and everybody kind of clapping to some really cheesy music. It's weird shit like that. But I will say in the first 4 minutes, there is a brutal kill. Kind of, it's the aftermath of the kill, so you don't really get to see it, but the gore, the effects look kind of cool. Yeah, I I don't know what else to say about this. I don't recommend it if you're just giallos, but it was fun to see some of the wild and cheesiness of it. If you like cheesy movies, if you like bad movies, which I like bad movies, and I just wasn't in the mood for this one. But
And did it have that like kind of weird mystery aspect to it then?
yeah, they had a guy. They had a guy who I should tell the premise. There's a guy in a camper just driving around town to all of these like, park settings or beach settings in his camper with these reflective sunglasses, aviators, and he's picking up hitchhikers, killing them, and then dropping them off in the swamp somehow. He ends up in the swamps in like Georgia.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it's not a mystery then. Not as much a mystery.
No. Yeah, he's basically, and then he's trying to he finds one girl and he's trying to recreate her as his mother, who's from Russia, and he has this photo that, oh man, I should have pulled up the image of the photo. His mother is like this weird haircut, short haircut lady, and he cuts the victim's hair to match it. It just starts going in so many different directions that you're like, what am I watching? So it is kind of crazy in that sense.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get through, even for a bad giallo.
It honestly sounds like a winner, dude. I I gotta check this out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if they would have went more hardcore, I mean, this is Umberto Lenzi, and if you've known his stuff, like I had mentioned before, his stuff is wild. And what's it? I believe, didn't he do Cannibal Ferox as well?
I think so.
Yeah, and Cannibal Ferox, I love. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Eaten Alive, Man from Deep River.
Story, it's crazy. It's,
Nightmare City. Nightmare City, of course. City of
Nightmare City.
Yeah. Movies with guns.
Yeah, it's just, they're all hard hitting. And this one, it doesn't have that. It has the rudeness, but it's still lacking somewhere. So I was waiting for it to get really nuts and gory and crazy. And I think if that would have really popped in the middle of it, I would have been sold. But yeah, there's too much character building. They're trying to do suspense. They didn't do
Classic problem with horror movies.
Classic Italian horror.
Yeah.
I want to see the fantastical. I want to see the kills. I want to see the crazy camera moves. I want to see the stylish, camera work. Some of the language, like some of the dialogue was kind of cool, and by today's standards would be extremely offensive, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And so
I know we've all been so spoiled by Mario Bava and Argento's, the way he moves the camera and just the beauty of their movies. And so everything after that is tough to live up to. But I mean, even by that point, Argento was having trouble making great movies. I mean, you could argue that maybe 1987's Opera was his last really great giallo movie.
I have a theory that the drug, like when he was doing coke and having crazy dreams, and he was young and wild and running, and he was just like, yeah, let's do this. And then you get, he got older, and it's like, that there's not that fucking punch anymore, man.
You're just drinking wine at the chateau, and you're like, do I need to worry about
Tarantino theory? Tarantino's like, I'm only going to do 10 movies, and that's it. I don't know.
And then any movie after 10, a director just goes downhill after that.
I don't know if I subscribe to that, but maybe there is some truth to that with Argento's career.
Yeah.
I'm going to get killed in the comments.
No, I think a majority of people would agree. I mean, at least by the time Opera is probably the last great one, but I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of the later ones or even anything the last few years. He did that Dracula movie, I don't know, 10 years ago. And
I picked up Trauma on VHS not too long ago. And I was pretty hyped to find that one.
Yeah,
I haven't
great.
watched it yet, though. I haven't watched it yet, but
it's a later one in the '90s, and it has a '90s feel. But I think it's cool. I think it's great. I have a whole other theory that I'll tell in my next segment or the next episode about Sergio Martino and Argento and how they were rivals. And I have a blasphemous statement that I think Sergio Martino is better than and fueled some of the genius that came from Argento.
Oh shit! Oh
Mm.
shit!
But,
All right.
I'll save that.
Well, maybe we can all do some homework and you give us what your theory is, and then we'll discuss it on the next episode.
Cool.
Hunter, tell us about your segment. What is it all about?
Oh yeah, man. So I'm a analog kind of guy. I have about 2,000 horror tapes on VHS. So my segment talks about some of my favorite tapes, man. And for those of y'all watching, you see that poster behind me is Sleepaway Camp 3. So I thought I would talk about Sleepaway Camp 3.
Yeah.
This is Sleepaway Camp is one of my all-time favorite series. Sleepaway Camp Part 2 is actually my favorite film of all time. But I love Part 3 also. And the reason I think I love it is because it's very similar to Part 2. Pamela Springsteen plays Angela Baker, who just goes around punishing people, punishing campers that are bad. And it's just a riot, dude. And the thing I really like, and the thing that I connected with this series and these films in general, is the performance from Pamela Springsteen. She's just freaking hilarious, dude. And Part 3 kind of doesn't have as much heart as Part 2, but it's still so much freaking fun. It's also got some language that would be not necessarily PC today, because the plot revolves around low-income campers going to the same camp as rich yuppie campers, and basically being told, guys, just because you guys are poor gangbangers and you guys are rich yuppies, can't we all just get along? And spoiler alert, Angela kills almost all of them. And also, based on your Google image search, this has a great sequence. The one with her holding the gun down there, Christian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's an awesome scene in this movie where essentially a cop who's been investigating the murders of Part 2 because his son was killed in Part 2 finally finds out that Angela is the killer, and he has a big speech to her and says, you know what are you gonna do? How you try to get me? I'm gonna bring you in, blah blah blah. Like, there's nothing you can do to, like, it's over, Angela, kind of thing. And she literally just pulls out a gun and gats him, dude. So yeah, the Sleepaway Camp 3 is just so 80s. It's so wild. Like I said, I've been carrying that Sleepaway Camp 3 poster around since I was in high school, dude. My dad got it for me on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like an original poster. And I still have my eyes peeled for a Part 2 original poster. But yeah, I love this tape. Obviously, it's not Pamela Springsteen on the cover. It is a different model. But it's just the yellow. It's just like pops when it's on the shelf, dude. I have this one in a clear plastic container because it's one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, man, it's good. It's a rip-roaring good time if you're down for some TNA and some 80s camp. No pun intended.
Yeah, it's been a while since I revisited that one. I have the that box set, the First Aid DVD box set that looks like a first aid kit with all 3 first films in it, and some footage of the 4th one that never got finished.
Yeah.
But then they eventually did 2 more later without that footage, I think, right?
Yeah, they did. They did Return to Sleepaway Camp, which is also great, which came out not too long ago, like within maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's also fantastic because they capture the essence of like the tone of these movies. And the cool thing about the Sleepaway Camp franchise in general is that it's just got a really unique tone that a lot of other slasher films don't have. And when I say that, I mean, like, it's funny, and it's like, usually they have kids playing kids, which is really cool. At least in the first one, it's like the actors all look like kids at camp.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know, man. They changed my life, man. So that's my inspiration every time I walk out of the office is Sleepaway Camp. And
Yeah.
Christian Black Vortex Cinema put out a book called My Favorite Horror Movie, which Christian and Alex and I contributed. Jonathan, were you on My Favorite Horror Movie? Forgive me, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't know
damn.
him. I didn't know him then. So.
Oh,
we did that
word.
this book.
Yeah, but Christian put together this anthology book where independent filmmakers would write a chapter essentially about their favorite horror movie, and mine was Sleepaway Camp Part 2. Just warms my heart, but yeah, man, I thought in episode 1 might as well put some context to the poster. I love this series, man, and I love this tape, dude. Look how sick that looks on a shelf, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, it's crisp, baby.
Yeah, people miss that when they have their Netflix collection. You don't get that the beauty of just looking at and thinking about a title and it's sitting on your shelf over there. Like I have a big stack. But with that movie, with Angela, I mean, the only reason because we all know Felissa Rose, but Felissa was asked to star in the second movie, but she was like, dude, I need to go to college. I don't want, I want to actually go to film school and just learn how to be an actor. And I think she that's why she didn't do those movies, the two sequels, and it ended up being Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Yeah.
And now she's a photographer. Didn't you have a contact with her at some point?
Oh my gosh, yeah. For those watching, it's that email's right there on my door. Yeah, when I was in high school, I was so rocked by the whole Sleepaway Camp franchise because I bought them on a whim and just threw them in. That was when I was consuming every horror tape and every horror DVD that I could afford. And I was just completely blown away by Part 2 and Part 3. And Part 1 blew me away enough to go back to the store and buy Part 2 and Part 3 because Part 1 is obviously it's a cinematic classic and Felissa's incredible in it, and so I reached out to Pamela Springsteen. I found her email address on her website and sent her a message saying like, hey, like I'm about to go into acting school and just wanted to let you know I really enjoyed your performance. And just kind of did that kind of spiel. And she wrote back like a couple days later and was like, hey, man, like, just so you know, like, you can do it. Like, you can make a career out of filmmaking. You can make a career out of acting. And that really, really inspired me. And like I said, I printed out the email and I've been carrying that around for a really long time, too, just as a reminder that, like, yo, like, you can fucking do it, bro. You can make movies and that can be your life and that can be your journey. So yeah, man, Sleepaway Camp is a MVP for me, and then eventually getting to work with Felissa Rose. She was in my first film that Christian produced and Napawaki production designed. Getting to work with her was like, and I've worked with her on several films. And there was actually I shouldn't even say it, but there was a time when I was on a shoot with Felissa where we were on a campsite. And we were just hanging out on the back patio of a camp with Felissa Rose. And I looked over to her and I'm like, dude, like 15-year-old Hunter would be shitting his pants right now if he knew that this was like in the cards, dude. Like I'm at camp with Angela. Like, yeah, props to Felissa Rose, props to Pam Springsteen, and props to Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen Felissa in a long while, at least a year or two. So I've been trying to get her out here to come party at my new place. But shit, it might have been 2 years at least since I haven't seen her. So
hey, we should get her on Film Villains, bro.
Yeah, we will definitely be getting her on the show. So cool. All right. Well, I think it's time for a little Alex action. Let's do this, Alex. Punks on Film.
Yeah, dude, you need to record that. That's what you're playing there.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
You're gonna have to do the Duran Duran version.
You did it. Just clip that out and have it play next episode.
Punks on Film.
So, if that title was not descriptive enough, I'm Alex. I'm gonna be talking about Punks on Film. And yesterday, I went and saw one of the most punk rock films of all time on the big screen, Decline of Western Civilization 3. For anyone not familiar, Decline of Western Civilization, the first one was a punk rock documentary Los Angeles underground scene, Germs, Black Flag, X. Was, you know, pre-MTV, one of the first ways people could see and find out about this stuff. There was a decline of Western civilization too, the metal years. We don't really talk about that, but
yeah, wait, I don't
Penelope
remember that one,
Spears-
but
which one?
oh
The
yeah,
second
go ahead,
one?
go ahead. Yeah, I
Anyway.
mean, I remember that one more than the first one, I think. So okay, but yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna watch them all together, Act. Me
Yes,
and you
we will.
in that room. We're gonna do it. We'll cuddle. We'll bring popcorn. It's gonna be the
Yeah.
stay up way past our bedtime. But the director of these films is a gal called Penelope Spears. She is one of my favorite directors. She is the absolute queen of punksploitation. And the third film is different than the first two films because she thought she was going to Hollywood to get the 90s punk rock scene as far as bands went. And really, it does feature some bands, but she ends up doing a really intimate portrait of this group of homeless gutter punk teens like in Hollywood in the mid 90s. And it's
Oh,
a
cool.
huge deviation from the other ones. The other ones are so much concert footage, so much just, you know, and this, you're literally watching them spare for change and seeing the fucking squats that they're living in and just seeing them support each other. And the second they get, you know, money for a beer, they're sharing it with all. That one's name is Why Me. But it's just a really endearing cast of kids. Penelope knows exactly who she wants to talk to and what she wants to get. Like these kids they all look fucking fantastic on camera. They've all got really dark stories. They're all coming from fucking abuse and neglect. And this is the family they find at home. Like that is definitely how they attach to the punk rock scene. Their names are, you know, Squid and Spoon and Phil. That's Penelope right there with the lead singer of one of the bands in the film called The Resistance. They were actually homeless punks that lived on the streets that managed to practice in one of their mom's garages. That is Rick Wilder from the Mau Mau's. And, you know, you're interviewing these kids, you know, they're asking where you're going to be in 5 years. Most of them are saying I'm going to be dead. And literally by the time the film's over, two of the most endearing characters are not characters, fucking kids. Are dead. Like it's really, really heartbreaking. And that's why this movie kind of fell through the cracks a little bit compared to the other ones. It didn't get the distribution of the other ones because it wasn't that concert film. Like,
yeah,
she won a Hero Award or whatever at Cannes, but just it's kind of depressing, but it's super intimate and it's a very cool look into exactly that's how the film ends. Like one of the characters is in county jail awaiting murder trial for one of the other characters in the film. And
wow.
Damn. Bro.
Highly suggested. It's on Tubi. It finally got a release a few years back because of Shout Video, which is fucking awesome because this was definitely just a lost on VHS classic for a long, long time. Yeah, and what else is cool is I saw it at the new Vidiots in Eagle Rock, which is awesome. It's a fucking video store from the 80s that was going underground. They could not afford to exist anymore, and they became a non-profit, and people fucking pitched in, and now this video store exists with 60,000 titles, cheap rentals, and they've got 2 screeners there, and yesterday they screened Decline 3. One of the bands was in attendance, Naked Aggression, who is probably the most featured band in the movie. The lead singer, Kirsten was there, and it was just really cool. So Decline 3. Watch Decline 1, watch Decline 3. You don't need to watch Decline 2. Alex's Punks on Film.
Hey, thank you.
Hey.
And she went on to direct, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Michael Myers of Wayne's World fame really fight to get her to direct Wayne's World?
I think you have the story a little bit confused, but she did direct Wayne's World, but I think it was a lot of them fighting on the scenes of Wayne's World.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Like she comes from this, you know, I'm the director and I know what I'm doing. And Mike Myers was like, I'm the most popular person on SNL and I know what I'm doing. And I think there was some ego stuff going on there. But, you know, she'll call herself a sellout for doing that movie. Like, but I fucking love it. She directed that. She directed, I think, Black Sheep. She directed the Little Rascals movies. Like, she definitely went on to do some bigger stuff. But She also directed my favorite punk rock film, which eventually we'll get into, which is called Suburbia, which follows a group of homeless punks in the early 80s in LA. And instead of getting actors to play punks, she gets punks to play actors, and it's exactly as bad and as good as it sounds like that's going to be.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I need to revisit those first two. But even if you didn't like the second one, what don't you like about the second one? What is it?
So, I mean, the first one and the third ones, they're, you know, the underground punk rock scene. The second one is the booming metal scene of Hollywood. So instead of like, you know, this underground community, it's more this, it's excess, it's fucking, you know, it's just debaucherous. There is an amazing interview with Chris Holmes from Wasp. He is way too drunk to be on film or to be consented to actually be recorded. But, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you know, the dudes from Kiss are just like splayed out on a fucking bed with just naked girls all around them and stuff. Like, it is very opposite the teenage angst of,
You know what?
of
Then
1 and 3.
that means I haven't seen it. Then I fucked it. I have not seen it because I was mixing it up with a rock and roll fucking parking lot, heavy metal parking lot.
Oh yeah, no, that's,
Yeah.
No, these are much bigger
Completely
productions
different,
than heavy metal.
No,
Parking Lot. That's just
yeah. I saw the first one and the second one. I don't think I could find the third one at the time when I was watching them, but yeah, even though the second one the first one's amazing, absolutely amazing. And
there was literally a riot on the streets in Hollywood when it premiered. A riot on the streets of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So rad.
But
the second one?
The second one, it has that the excess, but the thing about it, it's also showing the emptiness within that. She is touching on some real topics within what you're seeing, and it's kind of they're revealing themselves in a way with a lot of those guys, and still the living where are you going to be in 5 years type of thing. They're just trying to hold on to what they have at the moment of this big machine, as you know, as we all know it was booming at that time. So there's some good stuff to it.
Oh yeah, it's watchable for sure. It's got some moments. It's definitely worth a watch. But just 1 and 3 are punks on film, and number 2 is heavy metal glam dudes willing to fucking get a hand job for a record deal. Fucking, like, it's definitely.
It's a much, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a big difference between what you just described with part 3 and where these kids are and where they're going and what happens at the end of that film and what's happening with these guys with record deals. You're absolutely.
Yeah, watch them all. Penelope's Furious, Queen of Punksploitation. What do you got this week, Ack?
Speaking on music. So Axe Discs of Darkness. I'm going to be always talking about music because I'm a music nerd. And this past week, I decided to, besides a million things, I threw on some White Zombie, the first big album, Los Sexorcisto. But I was like, you know what? I haven't heard the Marilyn Manson discs that I have. I don't know why. I guess I was listening to some Nine Inch Nails last week as well, and it kind of drove me over to pop those Marilyn Manson first few albums in. And so the first one, and a lot of if you did grow up in the 90s, like Marilyn Manson was a highly controversial figure who, and band that were putting out albums and just shoving S&M and Satanism and all these like very awful things to the conservative public right in their faces and putting it all over MTV and touring around the world and just showing horror and goth culture and to the masses. And the masses definitely did not like those ideas, and there were people going in front of Congress trying to stop this kind of music, and he was just fully out there fighting for you know, for the rights of artists to be artists. But you know, that was back when parental advisory stickers were on everything. I mean, that started happening in the late 80s. But so around 1994, he linked up with well, the band did, linked up with Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, and this is when Trent Reznor was just putting out his first masterpiece, The Downward Spiral, which, like, when it came out in '94, at least I did, I was like, holy fuck, this is an absolute masterpiece. It's always gonna timeless. It's never gonna not sound awesome. And so I don't know how he found the time to do to start working with Manson, but so he did, and he put out they put out this first album called Portrait of American Family, and it's just fucking filled with raunchy, horrific imagery in it, and there's a lot of times where it makes you feel really creepy, and where you're like, oh, I feel very uncomfortable right now. Where it's just even those like little segues in between songs, and it just, if you're at home, you know, back then when you're at home at night and you're like, or you fall asleep to it, and then they always have those hidden tracks at the end where it's 20 minutes of silence. You know, the glory of a compact disc is that a lot of those artists in the 90s started doing this, like Tool and definitely Marilyn Manson, where they would have 20 minutes of silence, and then right at the end it would be something fucking freaky or some shit, and you might have fallen asleep while you're listening to the album. You're like, what the fuck is that? And you start getting it wakes you the fuck up or freaks you up. So but it's all in good fun, and there's a lot of humor in it as well, but it's definitely shock jock, not shock jock, but shock rock. And I also listened to their second album, Antichrist Superstar, and that one's just as good. So I would 100% check both of those out. And then they had a remix EP that came out in between the two albums, Smells Like Children, and that had the Sweet Dreams cover, the Eurythmics cover. So I would, if you're okay with looking past all of the crazy shit that has come out about Marilyn Manson lately, I would at least check these out. And since he has kind of his image is very tainted right now. I mean, it always was, but now it's really bad. I don't know what the outcome has been on all of the Me Too stuff that he was accused of. Either way, if you can look past that for a little bit to at least enjoy the music, I would highly recommend it.
I can tell you that there are only a handful of artists that whenever they put out new music, I will listen to their entire record all the way through. And Marilyn Manson is one of those artists. And unfortunately, bro, his new music is not great.
Really?
I don't know if y'all have listened to any of his new music, but it's lost all the edge, man. I really think that like Eat Me, Drink Me was probably his last like album that had any edge or any like metal vibes. He's almost like doing like an alternative rock kind of
Oh no.
I mean, that's not even a good way to describe it, but but that said though, his first 4 or 5 albums are just freaking fire, dude.
Yeah. I think I had Mechanical Animals, and I don't know where the hell it is. That's actually the one I wanted to listen to, and then I don't know. I only have those 3. So
well, going back to what you said, being that artist and inspiring, I mean, or just talking about listening to it and blowing your mind. One of my first shorts, like when I was just figuring out like, oh, this is how I press record on the camera, and didn't know shit. And I was filming, I made a short, and then I was figuring out how to cut everything together. It's like, I'm sure everybody here is like, they were trying to find certain pieces of music or something to represent a horror scene or something that's really cool. And I remember just going through those 3 albums that you just showing and finding pieces that I was like, oh yeah, this would be great. And there's so much that speaks to those albums, that the wild, like raw, it's raw, it's it's unsettling. It's penetrating. You can feel that through the music,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what's cool about it.
It's like a maniacal circus, you know, like when Pennywise, especially in the new It movies, when he's like comes up to you and like he comes right into the camera and he wants to kill you. And I love that maniacal serial killer kind of energy on a movie. That's kind of what it feels like, because it's very circusy, and it's fun, and it has metal elements and doom and industrial, and it just super fun. The other cool part is that because Trent Reznor made those first two albums with him, you're getting a lot of the sounds that that Trent had, that he was doing, like even some of the keyboard sounds you could hear from Downward Spiral, and the album he did right after that, those little touches make it really fucking cool. A little time capsule of Trent Reznor stuff, but it's not trying to be like Nine Inch Nails. So
I think also with those, the combination of that and those sounds we talked about, but then also the lyrics of challenging things, of challenging the status quo, or speaking truth, of like questioning, well, why do you, not literally, but basically, well, why do you think this? Why do you think that? It opens, especially with young people listening to it, it's like, whoa, you know, it's it was so amazing.
I remember buying Smells Like Children at a CD shop and hiding it from my parents for like a year. I didn't even want them to know I had it. Yeah.
What's so funny, that parental advisory sticker, like that's how us children knew what music was going to be cool. It was like an endorsement sticker.
Hell yeah.
I saw Marilyn Manson live in like maybe 2009, 2010, and I got to the show a little late, which was fine, and I was standing pretty far back, and I just remember when he came out on stage, the first thing he did was blew like 3 giant snot rockets that I could see the long strings of snot from like the back of the arena all over the front row. And I just remember thinking, man, I really, really like Marilyn Manson, but not enough to get snot rocketed.
No.
So I was really glad that I wasn't in the front row.
Do you know how much cocaine was in those snot?
Yeah, I know. You could have dried it and snorted it later.
Right before he played Don't Like the Drugs, he did like 2 lines of coke on stage.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
Yeah, but the drugs me.
Our friend Julie worked with him. She did makeup for him for a whole tour. Julie Hapney, and so she had lots of stories of the wild shit, and his kind of wild behavior, but she was one of the few people that he really loved when on that tour, and so she was always just had great things to say about him for the most part. You know, she saw some wild stuff, but yeah, I don't know if I'd ever want to.
Names we need on the pod. Speaking of names we need on the show, though, Julie.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to have Julie on. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen John Carpenter's Vampires, but
yes,
Marilyn Manson was the first choice to play the lead vampire, the bad vampire in that movie, which
was he?
Which would have been a freaking wild choice. I don't know why it didn't happen, but that's a rumor, Eric. I don't know. Maybe it's not true, but that would have been pretty badass to watch him slice people up.
He's definitely the best person in the whole fucking Bowling for Columbine. Like,
true.
For sure.
True.
And they're just like, what would you have said to those kids? He's like, I would have listened to those kids. Like, that was so fucking cool.
You would have thought that society was going to like lynch him after that happened, because I vividly remember just everyone saying it's Marilyn Manson's fault. And it's just like, you cannot blame an artist for the actions of individuals, in my opinion. And I also, to your earlier statement, Christian, I do believe that there is a way to, in a healthy way, separate the art from the artist. Where somebody might not be a good person behind the scenes, or not to say that, whatever, but But that doesn't mean you can't appreciate their creative inputs to society. So I don't, I'll still fuck with Marilyn Manson even after all the debauchery I've heard about. But yeah,
sometimes you don't know what's true or what kind of craziness is going on out there, but that motherfucker's wild, and so
yeah.
I mean, true. You remember the daytime talk shows like Donahue and Sally Jesse and Ginny Jones, like every time they had a troubled teen on that show, the opening statement from the host was, "Do you listen to Marilyn Manson?"
Yeah,
I vividly remember that. Like, the first thing they asked.
And the kids wearing a Marilyn Manson shirt, Marilyn Manson pants, Marilyn Manson hat. Like, I think I've listened to it.
It's terrible as that is to say, that probably boosted his career in such a major way because he was like the villain of music for almost 10 years. You know what I mean?
He made himself that way.
Yeah, dude, because the more you say don't listen to Marilyn Manson, the more kids like us are going to hide the CDs under our pillow. You know what I mean? So
that ties in directly with our film villains because he became the boogeyman,
Yes. Yeah,
he did. And I mean, and he kind of capitalized on all of that PRMC satanic panic shit that happened in the mid to late 80s where if a lot of you are maybe don't know about it, the Congress and everyone, and Tipper Gore, the wife of Senator Al Gore at the time, she was after all of these rock and rollers and pop people for putting out music, and it was just all this. Mainly, it was the Christians coming in and kind of infiltrating politics with the Reagan era. And so once that kind of seeped in, then it became a war against art and against and calling everything satanic. And even if it was Whitney Houston or Madonna that didn't have any Satanist ideas in it, and they were looking back at old albums and talking about backmasking of like people putting reverse just subliminal messages in their albums, and so it was a wild time. And so that after it had kind of simmered down, then you start getting Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson and all this stuff starting to become popular again, and Ministry getting popular in the early 90s even more than they were in the 80s. And so it was a wild time. And he was probably the biggest one that capitalized on like, okay, I'm the new Alice Cooper of the world. I'm gonna fucking put it in everybody's faces, and I'm gonna keep fucking living this right in your face. And he capitalized on it like a motherfucker. Definitely did. One of the coolest things that I thought he did it was probably in the late 90s that he did an interview. It might have been Rolling Stone where the interviewer had to go to his house, and they opened the door and they said, okay, yeah, just go in that room. And the interviewer had to go in the room, and he sat down in front of a TV, and Marilyn Manson came up on this like old school fucking TV, all like off, crazy looking, and did the interview on the TV to the interviewer and didn't face to face him at all. I always thought that was cool. He might have been in the next room or something, but he just wanted that image to be out there. Like I'm gonna fucking fuck with you. And
that's cool.
Yeah. It was probably sometime mid to late 90s that came out. But it was, and I think the interviewer probably had to take pictures of the TV. So, on top of that, it looked really fucking creepy and cool. So
he had just watched Videodrome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think, I think this has been a great episode, you guys. I think it's time to say our goodbyes, and, do we have any ending thoughts on our first episode? Oh, that's great. Great.
Yeah. Watch scary movies, man.
Yeah. And we'll be back. We're gonna do this every week, and so I would definitely like our video. I would subscribe to this video, or Hunter kills 15 baby rabbits in his sleep. All right, everyone. thank you for listening, and thank you for staying with us for this long. We'll talk to you guys in the next time around.